I wanted to do this video basically on the male version of me, basically, because I feel like people don't pay attention to this. Like, people think that just because someone is black, therefore their male version of them is another black American, but what if their phenotype does not fall for it? For me, that's my problem. See, I've always had an interest in men that had my phenotype, but it didn't really matter what their race was specifically. Now, this is, I think, why I've never had an interest in black men. One, because I've never seen dark-skinned black men while I was growing up. So I never had a preference towards dark-skinned black men. Well, I've seen white men growing up. So I could always transfer that to my environmental interests. But my natural interest never was really black men because my mother her brothers and stuff, they don't really look like that, basically. Only the females look similar to that. Yet obviously, how am I gonna see a black man through my aunts and my mother? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So, for me, I don't know, I just wanted to show this because it's like, if you look at the male version of me, you do not see a dark-skinned black man. You don't even see a biracial person who is mixed with European and black. You specifically would see more of someone who is more of the Ethiopian, North African, Middle Eastern, Indian, or like, maybe in some cases even, some influence of Southern European heritage. My father looked very similar to this, because I look a lot like my father. And so this is why I prefer a phenotype that looks like the male version of me. That happens not to be a black man who is dark-skinned, one. Also, it happens to be not a black man who has body hair, for example, that is really tight. That's why I'm not really, I guess, a fan of people with really tight hair if their body hair is really tight as well. If their body hair is curly, that's fine, As long as it's like a kinky curl, that's fine too. But like, if it's like a tight curl, no, I don't like that. Because like, if you look at how I am, my body hair does not come in a kinky texture. It comes in a curly texture. A tight curl maybe, but it's a curl. I mean, they are very well-defined curls. So, I mean, that's just generally how I see this situation. It's just like, I do not want, and obviously, I mean, like, I think, like, women, in general, they don't look weird because their body hair, like, they shave their body hair. I shave my body hair. So, I mean, like, we don't, even if I had kinky body hair, it wouldn't be weird. Well, if it was, actually, it wouldn't be weird because I would have seen it. So I would have thought that that was normal. You get what I'm saying? Like, when I look at black men who have, like, kinky body hair on their bodies, it's, like, weird to me. I don't understand it. When someone has curly body hair, it's just, well, it's just curly, kind of thing. I'm not really weirded out by that because I've seen that before, When I'm in the shower, I always see that. So, I mean, like, it's not, like, a big deal, So, anyway, my point is, with skin tone and, like, hair texture, yeah, I have that preference. And, it's not a hate situation. It's not something that I particularly hate black men. It's not that I even value white features. Say, I really actually think that I've always been colorist towards white men, honestly, where I prefer them darker. I like more of a Mediterranean racial phenotype. And this, like I said, goes back to how my male version of me would literally be someone with Mediterranean racial compositions, basically. If you look up the Mediterranean race, you will see that they are specifically people of the Southern European, Middle Eastern, North African, Eastern African, and Indian heritage. So to me, that's just generally how I see it, basically. Sometimes I can have a preference towards biracials, but I generally don't just prefer biracials in total. Many of the time, if they look like European and African, like for example, the male version of Rihanna would be too Afrocentric in her features if she was a male, you know what I mean? It would be too focused in the Afrocentric phenotype, and also it's a European phenotype, which a Northern European phenotype is not particularly my preference in the first place. So this is why I wouldn't prefer someone with that phenotype either. See, this is what I mean. It's not about seeing white versus black. For me, I don't even think white versus black features are better than another. The only thing is that I'm used to looking at white men, and honestly, white men follow the same gender-specific features as a Indian or Arab or North African or East African man does. They have the same facial structure. They don't specifically have the same facial structure, but I'm saying as far as the Caucasoid male structure is specific, but a black man's facial structure is different from the Caucasoid facial structure of a male. An Asian man is very different from a Caucasoid male structure, basically. And that's what I'm not attracted to, basically. This is why I have no attraction to Asian men or black men. This is how you know it's not an anti-black situation for me. It's not that I think that black men are bad people. I could care less if they're bad or good. I have always come through saying that Nigerian men, South African men, men from Ghana, and so forth, they are very successful, and so are their female counterparts when they come here. They are way more successful than white Americans, for that matter. They're more educated, they have more of an economic, they earn more economically, they get into less trouble criminally, so I don't have any issue with them. But for me, like I said, my interest in the men I'm interested in is solely egocentric when it comes to physical attraction. But, like I said, with white men, the thing is, the majority of society is not the races that I generally prefer. So I'm forced to choose between white and black men, who are largely the ones who show interest in me. So I choose white men because white men, one, like I said, they still have that gender-specific structure in them. So then I can still see them as men. And then if they are an attractive man, then they are an attractive man despite being white. See? And also white men sometimes have darker or more Mediterranean phenotypes, which makes them within my preference. So that's why for me I prefer white men. I can also extend that to Scandinavian men because Scandinavian men tend to be more masculine. They tend to be taller. They tend to be bigger. So then they can make up for the fact that they're fair, basically. And also many of them aren't very freckled. If they're not very freckled, then I don't have to really see that side, really, of fairness, My thing is I don't really like fair skin that's freckled, and I don't like very dark skin, basically. Those are the types of skin tones that are a no-go for me. I saw one man, he was redheaded and very freckled, and I thought he was handsome, very handsome, and I could never even try to interact with this person or, have any interest in this person of any sort, even though he showed interest in me. So that's, how I am. I don't like the extremes because, one, I'm not on the extremes. and specifically the male version of me would never be on either extreme. Therefore, I'm just not comfortable with either, basically. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thank you for watching. This is probably an odd video for some people, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. Thanks for watching.